Okay, great. So we're going to start now. Okay, so tomorrow you are going to start your term 2. All right, and then you're going to sit for exam as well, right? Are you ready? Have you revised sufficiently? No? Kenny's haven't. Wayla did. Good. Okay, so this week is supposed to be for a good rest as well as to catch up on your work. Correct? Yeah? Okay, so let's see what we have from last week. So we have 2 new students today. All right. So they might not have questions for this particular worksheet. Okay, can you see my screen? Okay. So this is the continuation of the questions we didn't get to finish last week. Okay. Now, look at question 9. It's about the digestive system, right? Correct. So you still remember about the digestion that we talked about? Yeah. So this particular question, okay, take a look. This person, Ranjit, wanted to investigate the factors that affect the digestion of food in the human digestive system. So he conducted an experiment to find out if the size of food affected how fast the food was being digested. He cut up pieces of the same food, placed them in 3 beakers of digestive juices as shown. So you can see the diagram. Yeah. Okay. You have actually the food pieces. It says that the food in each beaker has the same total mass. Okay. So even though we see that in beaker X is 1 big piece of this food here, then you have beaker Y. Okay, the food piece is now like cut into 2 pieces. Okay, and then in beaker Z, cut into 4 pieces. Yeah, but they are all actually the same mass, right? So after 2 hours, Ranjit measured the mass of the food pieces left in each beaker, and he recorded the results in the table as shown. So start of experiment, you have 100 grams of the food pieces each, okay, in X, Y, and Z. But at the end of the experiment, you have 91, 77, and 52 grams respectively. So can you explain why the mass of the food pieces in all the 3 beakers decrease? Okay, anyone want to answer this? How come the mass actually decrease? See, from X, right, 100 gram is now 91. And then for Y, it changes to 77 gram. And then in Z, okay, the food pieces has only 52 grams left. So in all beakers, the mass of the food pieces actually decreased. Why is that so? Wayla, try.
As the food was digested, so when the food is digested, the amount of food will decrease.
Okay, so you're talking about the food pieces are being digested. Okay, so in that 2 hours, they have been digested, right? So while it is digested, okay, each of the food piece will actually decrease in mass. That's right. Okay, so if you look at the answer, okay, it's a very straightforward answer. Okay, they only ask you for the reason why the mass actually decreased. So if you can talk about the digestive juices acting on the food, okay, so the food has been digested, right? Okay. So it's constantly being digested, right? Okay. So in the 2 hours, food pieces have been digested into simpler substances. So you add in simpler substances, because we all know this. This is actually happening, right? So food pieces have been digested into simpler substances by what? By the digestive juices. Okay. Next. Based on the results, explain how chewing food well before swallowing can help food to be digested faster. Remember, we talked about this last week. We spent a lot of time talking about answers for this type of question. And you know that this question is often repeated. They are being asked in different ways, but the answer is very similar. Okay, so answer is very similar. So Caleb can remember, right? Caleb nodded his head, right? Okay, Caleb, you want to try this? What are the important things to take note of? Can you read out to me your answer? Or you want to type out also can. Yeah, if you are shy. Okay, type out, then I'll just put your answer in the worksheet for everyone to see. Yeah. Now, we always learn together. It's not about seeing who got the answer correct. It's about learning together. Okay, the mistake that somebody is making might be your mistake in future. So don't be afraid to share, okay? And don't feel bad if I show your answers, okay? We are learning together. All right, there are certain words you need to talk about. Okay, some of the words there, I don't like to talk about keywords. You know, we always like talk about what are the keywords for, to get this answer correct. It's not exactly about keywords. Okay, it's about how you explain the science concept. Everybody must always remember this. Okay, Caleb, ready? Okay. Right, so let's look at Caleb's answer. Okay, we talk about this, right? So we have to keep trying to answer it in the best way. So this is Caleb's answer. Okay, so when the food is chewed, the exposed surface area will be bigger and it will digest faster. Okay, Caleb, can I point out to you your errors? Okay, you got the main points there. Okay, so you talk about the food being chewed, right? Okay, when it's chewed, what happens? The exposed surface area will be bigger. I will need you to add in something here. Okay, everybody take note. Sometimes you may answer in this manner. Why is it not sufficient? Okay, when the food is chewed into smaller pieces. Okay, Caleb? Comma. Okay, the exposed surface area will be bigger and okay, try to avoid it. Remember, I told you already, right? Try to avoid it. Can you write down? It sounds like you're repeating a lot, but it's fine. Because when you write it, let's say you are mentioning a few different things in your answer, then what does the it actually refer to? So you need to be very specific. So when the food is chewed into smaller pieces, the exposed surface area will be bigger and the food will digest faster. Clear? Okay. All right. So that will be complete. Of course, the suggested answer that's given is this one. Chewing breaks down food into smaller pieces. Do you see the similarity there? Then the exposed surface area is increased. Do you see the similarity as well? Yeah. So it's important that you answer in your own way, but you are still addressing the science concept. You are still writing down the science concepts. Okay, there are different ways of writing. Everybody will be different. I do not make students memorize because no point memorizing because it's not your way of writing. The most important thing is you write in your own way, but you still have all your points there. Ken? Jessian? Is it okay? So good, Caleb. Next, Ranjit wanted to do this investigation, right? So he found out a type of surgery can reduce the size of the stomach. okay, and shorten the length of the small intestine. So if you look at the diagram, okay, before surgery and after surgery, you see the change, right? Okay, actually the stomach is now made really much smaller, being reduced. Can see that? Then you see the length of the intestine also shortened. So based on the diagram, explain how digestion of food in the stomach, okay, and the small intestine will be affected after the surgery. So how will this actually affect digestion? Okay. Let's look at the stomach first. You see, size of the stomach reduced. What do you think? When the size of the stomach is reduced, what is the immediate thing that comes to your mind? Vinuli, any idea? No idea. When you're, okay, Vinuli, how much do you eat usually? One plate of rice?
Yes.
Yeah. So if your stomach is reduced by half, do you think it can still fit in one plate of rice?
No.
No. So the quantity of the food that will be taken into the stomach is actually reduced. Do you agree? Yeah. So that is what will happen. Okay. Then look at the length of the small intestine. Okay, Vinuli, see, after the food goes into the small intestine, usually it has to travel a long distance, right? Right now, before it goes into the large intestine. Now, on the journey, when it is traveling in the small intestine, remember there are actually digestive juices as well acting on the food. So if the food is traveling along this path inside the small intestine, it is being digested at every single point. But if you shorten the small intestine, the path is now shorter. There is lesser chances of being digested already. You see that? So digestion is reduced. So it's answered this way. Talk about less space to store the food. Okay, because already the size of the stomach reduced, no space really. It's just like your room. Your room so big, you can put so many things. What if I cut your room into half the size? Can you still put the same amount of things inside? Cannot. Yeah, exactly. So less space to store food, okay? So there'll be less digestion taking place in the stomach. Okay? And then small intestine, once the length is shortened, distance for the food to travel is also lesser. Okay, so there's less time for the food to be digested. All right. So what will happen to this person? Will the person grow bigger or become thinner? Yeah, exactly. Become thinner because less food, less nutrients, right? So this is probably one way people cut their weight, right? For those maybe who eat a lot. Okay, so this is one procedure. Thank you, Vinuli. Any question here? So far? No. So this question, okay, is actually an application question. So you have never learned this in your science subject. You never learned this in science classes, agree? But this is actually something that happens in real life. So I told you before many times, a lot of real life example will actually be asked. Okay, it will appear in your test paper, in your exam paper, and especially in PSLE. Yeah, PSLE every single year, you have different questions. Yeah, but they are testing the same concept. Okay, so they are trying to see whether you can understand or make sense that the space here is lesser, and then you know that the stomach can contain food to be digested. Since the space is lesser, less food can be contained. Okay, so less food digested there. Understand? Similarly, for the small intestine, okay, there are still digestive juices in the small intestine. So if you shorten the path, the time